Well, look, whether you agree with the policies or not, there's absolutely no doubt that Liz Truss as Prime Minister has acted very decisively on a raft of policy issues already. I've talked recently about the government lifting the moratorium on fracking. Now we hear, and I really do welcome this one, we can finally have new grammar schools, which I think will be fantastic for social mobility in this country, for working class kids to crack on in life. And today we had, undoubtedly, what is a Conservative budget. £45 billion worth of tax cuts. Now, the reaction to this has been along ideological lines. There can be absolutely no doubt now that on the one hand, you've got a tax-cutting Conservative government, and on the other, a Labour Party with a much different vision for the UK. Isabel Oakeshott, for instance, saying it's what the Conservatives should have been doing for the last 12 years. Chris Rose, Conservative commentator, saying I was already a fan of Kwasi Kwarteng, of course the Chancellor who delivered this budget today, but saying even more so now that with this mini budget, it's refreshing to have a Chancellor who is far more Conservative and less Gordon Brown. Ben Habib, another there, commenting, saying this is not a mini budget. The steps announced by Kwasi Kwarteng are a seismic, bold, welcome break from 25 years of growth, subduing policies and taxes. Says the only way out of our debt burden is through growth. Kwasi has set the foundations for our recovery. Now, I will play a bit of what Kwasi Kwarteng, the Chancellor, had to say in Parliament today. But just to go through some of this quickly, you know, the government's setting out how the UK tax burden at the highest level since the 1940s, announcing a series of tax cuts. So April 2023, we'll see the basic rate of income tax cut. They're going to abolish the 45p additional rate completely, cutting stamp duty, cutting national insurance, cancelling the health and social care levy, cancelling the planned increase rate of corporation tax, and agreeing in principle with 38 areas new tax cutting investment zones. This is a bold move from the Liz Truss government. I would characterise it as a Conservative government actually delivering Conservative policies. Let me know what you make of all of this in the comments below, guys. Do you welcome this from the Truss government? And if you didn't see Kwasi Kwarteng talking in Parliament today, here's a clip of what he had to say.
That is an unprecedented set of tax incentives for business, Mr. Speaker, to invest, to build and to create jobs right across the country. I can confirm to the House that we're in early discussions with nearly 40 places like Tees Valley, the West Midlands, Norfolk and the west of England to establish investment zones. And we'll work with the developed administrations and local partners to make sure that Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland will also benefit if they are willing to do so. If we really want to level up, Mr. Speaker, we have to unleash the power of the private sector. And now, Mr. Speaker, we come to tax, central to solving the riddle of growth. The tax system is not simply about raising revenue for public services, vitally important though that is. Tax determines the incentives across our whole economy. And we believe that high taxes reduce incentives to work, they deter investment, and they hinder enterprise. As my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, has said, we will review the tax system to make it simpler, more dynamic, and fairer for families, and we're taking that first step today. Mr. Speaker, the interests of businesses are not separate from the interests of individuals and families. In fact, it is businesses that employ most people in this country. It is businesses that invest in the products and services we rely on. Every additional tax on business is ultimately passed through to families through higher prices, lower pay, or lower returns on savings. So I can therefore confirm that next year's planned increase in corporation tax will be cancelled. The corporation tax rate will not rise to 25%. It will remain at 19%, and we will have the lowest rate of corporation tax in the G20. This will plough almost £19 billion a year back into the economy. That's £19 billion for businesses to reinvest, create jobs, raise wages, or pay the dividends that support our pensions. I've already taken steps elsewhere in this statement to support financial services, so the bank surcharge will remain at 8%. But, Mr. Speaker, we will do more to encourage private investment. The annual investment allowance, which gives 100% tax relief on investments in plant and machinery, will not fall to £200,000 as planned. It will remain at £1 million, and it will do so permanently. Our duty, Mr. Speaker, is to make the UK one of the most competitive economies in the world. And we are delivering. We will deliver on this. Mr. Speaker, we want this country to be an entrepreneurial, share-owning democracy.